Welcome back to Happy Bake Day. My name is Amanda, and today we are going to be making delicious smoked trout hash brown breakfast cups. Of course, I couldn't do this recipe without my friends over at Ducktrap, and I'm using their smoked trout fillets for this recipe. I really love these smoked trout fillets because they're already cooked. They've got this delicious smoky flavor loaded with protein. They're a little salty, which I think really helps bring out the smokiness. And because it's already cooked, it doesn't really require any prep before you actually dive right into the recipe. Our first step is to make our deliciously crispy hash brown bottom. I have 3 cups of frozen shredded hash brown potatoes. And with these, I let them thaw here at room temperature, and then you really want to make sure you squeeze out all of the excess water, or else these will get kind of gross and smushy. So I've got my potatoes here. I have 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and this is going to help make my potatoes really, really deliciously crispy during the baking process. Half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Half a teaspoon of onion powder. These will give this such great flavor. And I'm also going to season with some salt and some ground black pepper as well. I've got a silicone spatula, and we're gonna mix this to make sure everything is fully coated, fully covered, especially with that oil. We wanna make sure that the potatoes really get evenly coated in the oil and our seasonings get mixed in really well. Nothing worse than taking a bite of hash browns and they're really salty because you take a big bite of salt, maybe a little bit too garlicky, although can you really have enough garlic? I mean, in my opinion, never too much garlic. You can always measure it with your heart. And now that this is really well and beautifully mixed, we're going to add it into a standard 12-count muffin pan. I have greased a standard 12-count muffin pan with just a little bit of cooking spray, and I have greased it really, really, really well. And this again will just help make my potatoes extra super crispy. I'm evenly dividing my hash brown potatoes in this standard 12-count muffin pan. First, I'm just going to divide the potatoes up fairly evenly, and then we will push the potatoes, press it down along the sides and into the bottom of the pan. And this will help the potatoes keep their shape, keep that cup kind of cup-like or nest-like structure, and it'll help them brown a lot better too. So as we fill up these muffin cups, they will stay together and get nicely browned. So now I'm just gonna take my hands and I'm just gonna gently push the potatoes, again along the sides here, push it onto the bottom, creating that kind of nest-like structure. And you're gonna pack them in pretty tightly if you can. Again, I'm just kind of using my fingers, pushing down, pushing on the bottom. If you see any gaps, don't be afraid to maybe shift some of the potatoes around a little bit just to make sure there's no holes on the bottom or any gaps in the sides. And that way, as these cook, these will form little cups. I'm going to bake my hash brown cups for about 18 to 22 minutes in an oven that's been preheated to 425 degrees. They'll be ready once they are beautifully crispy and golden brown, especially along the bottom. While my hash browns are baking, I'm going to remove my 2 trout fillets from their package. It is 8 ounces total of trout. And I'm going to just carefully remove the skin from both of the fillets. These are fully cooked. They are deliciously smoked. So the skin, you can see, just peels off really easily, which is great. And we're not gonna use the skin, so you don't need to save it or anything like that. I'm just gonna set it aside for now. And once our trout has been remove from the skin. We're just gonna use our hands, or you can use a knife, and you're gonna break it up into some smallish chunks. Again, you can use a knife if that's easier. I'm just going to kind of tear it. It doesn't need to be uniform. It doesn't need to be, perfectly evenly sized, but I am gonna tear both of my fillets into these kind of small, little small portions and have it here on my cutting board. Next, I have a mixing bowl as well as my electric hand mixer. And I'm going to take 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. Now we do want this to be soft. It's been sitting at my room temperature for about an hour to get nice and spreadable, that really great consistency. I'm going to add it here into my bowl. I'm also adding 2 tablespoons of full-fat Greek yogurt. This is plain yogurt. It's not sweetened, it's not flavored, it's just regular Greek yogurt. And with my electric hand mixer, I'm going to mix this until it is nice and smooth. Next, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of freshly chopped chives, a teaspoon of fresh lemon zest, a teaspoon of horseradish, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm gonna mix it really well with my silicone spatula just until everything gets combined. And this is going to be really flavorful. The horseradish will give it a really great bite. The lemon will be a bright citrus punch. And of course, the chives give it that really beautiful herby flavor. Last, I'm adding in my Ducktrap smoked trout, all of those really nicely chopped pieces. And again, we're gonna gently fold it into our cream cheese mixture using our spatula. And you wanna gently fold it because you want to keep the pieces whole if possible. Don't want this to get broken down too finely. And that way the trout gives great flavor, really great texture in these hash brown egg cups. I've pulled my hash brown cups out of the oven, and now I'm going to divide my cream cheese mixture into the cups. I've got a 1 tablespoon measuring spoon, and I'm going to scoop about a tablespoon or so of my cream cheese mixture and add it directly into my hash brown cups. I'll use my finger to just carefully push down, spread it out evenly to make sure that it kind of creates a flat top surface. Lastly, we're going to add 1 large egg on top of each of our hash brown cups. It's easiest to crack your egg into a small bowl, make sure that your yolk is intact, and then you can slowly pour the egg over top each of your hash brown cups. You want to use a large egg, not an extra large egg. These will cook really beautifully in the oven. Now I have left my oven on and preheated to 425 degrees. And so that way these can go straight back into the oven. I don't have to wait for it to preheat again, and they will cook pretty quickly. To finish these off, I'm just going to sprinkle the top with just a little bit of some salt, and then we'll also sprinkle with a little bit of pepper just for an additional seasoning. After we finish seasoning our eggs, I'm going to place a piece of aluminum foil over the top of my eggs. The oven is still on, it is still hot, and I don't want my eggs to burn. I'm going to bake my hash brown cups in the oven once more, 5 minutes fully covered, and then I'll remove the foil and I'll cook them for an additional 3 to 5 minutes, or until the yolk is a little bit runny, but the egg whites are fully opaque and completely cooked through. So my hash brown cups are done. They look so good. The egg whites baked up beautifully. My yolks are still just a little runny. Next, I'm gonna take a sharp paring knife and I'm just going to carefully run it here around the edge just to make sure that the hash brown isn't sticking, that my egg isn't sticking, and then these will pop out really nicely. I am going to let them cool for a bit in my muffin pan, about 2 minutes, and then we'll pop them out. And I have some chives here, additional chives, and we'll sprinkle them for a beautiful finish. And with that, our smoked trout crispy hash brown cups are done and beautiful. The hash browns really got a great golden brown color. The aroma from the smoked trout is heavenly, and the egg cooked really beautifully on top for a really nice finish. Of course, I could not have done this without my friends over at Ducktrap. Their smoked rainbow trout is such a great source of protein and a beautiful source of flavor. It's already cooked, so really it doesn't require any preparation from you. You can eat it straight out of the package, which I have done. It's delicious. Or you can use it in great recipes like this. It's a little salty, a little smoky, and all around delicious. Thank you so much for joining me today while we made our beautiful hash brown cups. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out Ducktrap's website to see where you can find this smoked trout yourself and give our recipe a try. Until next time, I hope you have a very happy bake day.